an important part of this teaching is that there are 4 states of consciousness. Also, what we call consciousness, what is called as consciousness or presence or awareness, is, to define it, it's that which is aware right now, that which is hearing and aware of feelings in the body, aware of judgments in your head, aware of memories, aware of sounds. So consciousness or awareness, presence, is that which is aware. Yeah? And in this teaching, the idea is that this consciousness can be in 4 different states of consciousness, or maybe this consciousness can be in different settings. It's a little bit like water, you know. Water can be in the form of ice, water can be in the form of a liquid, and water can be in the form of vapor. It's kind of like that. And according to the 4th way, there are 4 states of consciousness possible and available to human beings. So I'm going to go through them briefly. The first state of consciousness is when we sleep at night. Yeah, we all know this one, where we are not aware of the environment, we are not aware of even inner sensations, and we fluctuate between having dreams or having so-called deep sleep, and we are not aware of the externals. The senses are disconnected unless some strong sound or strong smell comes along, may wake us up in another state. Yeah, so the senses are disconnected, and then when we go to a deeper first state of consciousness, deeper sleep, even the mind is disconnected. There's no more dreaming, and it's just deep sleep. So this is the first state of consciousness. The second state of consciousness is when we wake up in the morning. We all wake up, we all experience this state, and it is called the waking state for people. Usually people call it waking state. And the state where we live our life, where politicians, they make laws, and soldiers go to war, and criminals do their crimes, and lovers make love, and engineers, they engineer, and scientists, they discover, go to work. Yeah, so this is the second state of consciousness. It's called waking state. The usual person, ordinary person, kind of, which is everybody, we live only in these 2 states, either sleeping or that one. And according to the 4th way teaching, there are 2 more states of consciousness, 2 more settings that are available to man. However, they don't happen. The first and second state, the sleep and the waking state, they happen to you and to all creatures. Yeah. The third state is very tricky. The third state of consciousness is called self-consciousness. What's tricky about the third state is that we believe we already possess it. We believe that we are aware of ourselves. We believe that we know ourselves. We believe we are conscious. Yeah, so that is one big challenge of this work, is that it is hard to decide to make efforts, intense efforts for a long time in order to gain something that you think you already have. So the state of self-consciousness happens automatically for all of us without spiritual work. It happens automatically by accident in times of great beauty or in times of shock of something very unusual happening, in the times of accident or something extremely unusual, beautiful, shocking, a great sunset at a canyon, or just found out that something terrible happened, or just had an accident, or or in childhood. That's the state for a regular person. It happens by itself, and it doesn't quite know, the person doesn't know quite what happened. They sense that something is different, but they don't know what that was, and then it fades away very quickly. The quality of this third state of consciousness or self-consciousness is this feeling that, whoa, I'm here, me, and in this place, and just vividly present somehow. This is what the third state that happens mechanically, automatically for everybody. Usually this type of state, because it's a deeper, higher state of consciousness, it imprints, it sears into our being, it creates memory. So we remember that vividly. We remember something vividly. Maybe you got married or you had your first child. That's very likely like a third state, mechanical third state happening to you. Or something in childhood. Santa came, gave you this little candy, you never had this candy. It's like, whoa, you remember just as if it were today. Yeah. Now, in the second state, the waking state, as compared to other possible states, the waking state is considered in the fourth way is called waking sleep. In compared to what's possible in terms of level of consciousness, our usual second state is like being a sleepwalker, like a zombie, basically. In the usual second state that we are living in normally, and our parents live in, and basically what's happening is that the consciousness, that which is aware, is kind of half asleep, is dormant, and is constantly, first of all, doesn't know itself. We don't know who we are, really. I mean, we have some thoughts, we may have some spiritual thoughts, but we really don't know. And this which is aware is unaware of itself and is constantly sucked into thoughts and feelings, and is constantly lost in some phenomena, outer phenomena, inner phenomena. Yeah, so I'll describe now the second state, which is what's now for everybody. Also in this second state, waking sleep, we have there's all kind of stuff that's happening. We have negative, we have a lot, there's always daydreaming. There's always past, future. Then there's worrying about negative stuff that will happen in the future, or rehashing, or churning on past stuff that happened in the past. We have thoughts that I'm not good enough, or I am unworthy, or I'm better, or I'm worse. We are totally wallowing, we are either sucked in unpleasant emotions, wallowing in them, or we are trying to suppress them and avoid them. And that's the situation. We have different sub-parts, different sub-personalities. They don't know each other. One is trying to be a loving man and be a symbol of love here, and another part here is like hating a lot of people, including myself. And then another part here is trying to be a good boy to get approval and get love. And another part here says, I don't give a shit, I don't care. So all these 6, 7, 8 sub-identities that are disconnected from each other, there are buffers in between them. So our sense of identity falls from one or the other, you know. Yeah. Okay, let's get back on track here. Also, in the second state, the characteristic is that since the consciousness doesn't know itself, is not aware of itself, is constantly lost in all of these things, it feels unstable. It's all time, it's unsafe, feels unsafe, it's unstable. There's nothing I can rely on, nothing I can count on. The thoughts are constantly changing, the feelings are changing, relationships are changing. There is a sense of instability. There is a sense of me being separate. In the second state, there is a feeling that I am me, and me is separate. I'm my own separate, autonomous entity doing my own thing, believing that we are separate from nature, separate from the sun, separate from each other, separate from the earth, separate from God. It's all kind of feeling separate. And this brings about disharmony, turmoil, sense of lack, fear, and a lot of unnecessary self-created suffering. Yep. The third state, the whole point of, from one angle, the practice that I described, this self-observation, the being present practice that I described, and the whole point of the fourth way is to now consciously and intentionally go towards higher states of consciousness, towards the third state. Third state is one knows the truth about oneself. One knows oneself. These are two levels here. I know all the tendencies of Mihai and all his bullshit and all the pretense and all the personalities and all the patterns and all the limiting beliefs. I'm aware of them. I know all of this Mihai operation, aware of these things, inner lies, inner contradictions. I'm aware of the thoughts rather than the thoughts are happening in sleep. I'm aware of the feelings. I'm very aware of everything that arises here. I'm aware even of some of their subconscious material that stirs my thoughts and feelings. And the third state, all of these states, just like the state of sleep, they are degrees. It's not like jit, jit, jit. It's like a dimmer switch. Yeah. In a third state, I know the truth about this, what's here, but also awareness, that which is aware, the presence, it becomes aware of itself. So I am aware that I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the feelings, I'm not my bullshit. I am, if there has to be like an identity, the identity is as this aware being, the presence. So the feeling of identity in the third state, instead of being I am this dude who has a lot of problems, is that I am the presence that is aware of the dude that has problems. In the second state, waking sleep, the mind is running the show. The mind is ceaselessly busy. In the third state, when there is self-consciousness, self-awareness, and more vividly presence, the mind doesn't do all that shit. The mind becomes a useful tool. The mind is quiet unless it is needed. The mind doesn't attack me. Or even if it does attack, I'm aware of the attack. I'm aware, I'm the watcher of this self-pity or self-deprecation or something. Yeah? Okay. Although the third state happens spontaneously from time to time, what we want through conscious effort to reliably, certain practices, teachings, understanding, to reliably move the dial of our consciousness so it's more into the third state, longer and longer, more frequently for longer duration. Yeah, so this self-consciousness or the third state has degrees, has certain measurements. How often during the day and how long it lasts, this higher state. And then how much penetration it has, how much I see. There's not much literature in spiritual literature about the third state, which is very interesting. It's assumed we have it, and that's a big obstacle. There's a lot of literature in spiritual literature about the fourth state. So I'm going to go now to the fourth state. However, in order to experience the fourth state of consciousness, which is like the highest level as possible to human beings, highest level of awareness, of wisdom, of knowing the truth, in order to reach the fourth state of consciousness more, one has to live more predominantly in the third state. The third state of self-consciousness needs to get more established in order to have glimpses and to access the fourth state. The fourth state, if the third state was called self-consciousness, knowing the truth about myself, both the false self as well as the true self, the fourth state is called objective consciousness. It is knowing the truth about everything, about the laws of the universe, about how it operates here. There's a lot of spiritual literature, all these deep sages and deep saints, and they have some deep books that you are like, whoa, this guy was really like, whoa. That is very likely talking about their experience of the fourth state. All of these states, they all happening on top of each other. We still sleep in the night, and they are dimensions of another, they are expanding. In the fourth state, so the fourth state is more, that's interesting because Gurdjieff didn't even want to speak too much. Gurdjieff and Uspensky, they didn't want to speak too much about the fourth state because that will foster spiritual fantasies in people and will create all this imagination and daydreaming and bullshit, basically, spiritual bullshit. It was not practical. What's practical is to help people realize that you are asleep, man. You are asleep. And then you can become more aware in the third state. And this requires a lot of work and persistence to do that. So there's no useful to talk about now the fourth state. Yeah, but however, I will talk about it because on YouTube and everywhere on Instagram they talk about it. So I just want to give a context. So this fourth state is that not only that knowing that I am the presence, but that this presence is not personal, is not limited. This presence is the divine. There is only one presence here. So this presence is actually God's presence. And actually Mihai is not Mihai. Mihai and Eric and Krista is the divine consciousness expressing itself as that. Even if Krista doesn't know that, even if Krista believes it's Krista, doesn't fucking matter. Because still the divine consciousness expressing itself as Krista that is confused. So in the fourth state, you know, like fourth state insights are the Atman is Brahman, this presence is God in Hindu stuff. In Islam is wherever your eyes fall, there is the face of God. Yeah, all is one. There's only one. There's only one consciousness, only one reality. All is well and unfolding as it should. There's no problem. Even if people are tortured right now and kids are butchered and women are raped, it is all is well and absolute safety. All of these statements, they come from a fourth state of consciousness. So in the fourth state of consciousness, one not just dispenses this wisdom, like, hey, you know, but one really feels it, smells it, is it, it's obvious. Jesus would say, I and the Father are one. That is fourth state statement. All right, so these are the four states. So in the fourth way teaching, man is an incomplete being. Why? Because we live only in the first two states. We have a big house with 4 floors, and the last 2 floors are really spacious. And the last one is very spacious with a terrace and a global view of the whole thing. And we just live in the basement, basically. That's why man is an incomplete being. What we want, you know, we want peace and harmony and lack of worries, and to experience love and beauty, and that's not possible in the second state. The second state is turmoil, from intense turmoil to mild turmoil. So all the thing we want, happiness, peace, fulfillment, knowing the presence of God, whatever, all of these are actually come with the third and fourth state.